What's up guys, this is iTweaks here, and I was able to get my hands on an LG G4, and if you guys haven't heard, it's actually supposed to be one of the best, if not the best cameras on a smartphone right now. So of course I did want to put this to the test against the iPhone 6 Plus and just see where it stands. Now of course keep in mind that the iPhone 6 Plus obviously is a bit of an older phone, but I mean we really can't do anything about that. So let's go ahead and get into this test. Now before we actually take a look at the pictures and videos from both of the devices, let me go ahead and mention the manual mode that comes with the LG G4. Now you have a lot of different options to adjust, such as white balance, manual focus, ISO, and shutter speed. Now these options are going to let you fine tune your pictures that you take. Now in my opinion, this is definitely not going to replace an actual DSLR like some people have mentioned, but it's definitely a great way to get introduced to the different features and what they do. So just taking a quick look at the comparison between the specs between the G4 and the 6 Plus, just to talk about some of the more notable features, we have a 16 megapixel camera on the G4 compared to the only 8 megapixels on the 6 Plus. We also have a 1.8 aperture on the G4 compared to the 2.2 aperture on the 6 Plus. They both have image stabilization. For the autofocus, we have a laser autofocus for the G4, and we have a single LED flash for the G4 compared to the True Tone flash on the 6 Plus. Now of course this is only the rear camera, we'll talk about the front facing camera as well, but before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into some photos. Now taking a look at these pictures side by side, you'll notice that the picture on the left actually is quite a bit brighter than the picture on the right. The picture on the right also, if you take a look at the trees, where it gets real dense, like towards the middle of the tree right above the trunk, you'll notice that you can't actually see a whole lot of detail right there in the middle. Now you can see a little bit more detail on the picture on the left, but really in comparison, I think the colors are a whole lot more vibrant on the picture on the right, and I would definitely choose the picture on the right as the winner, and that is actually the G4. So here for the iPhone 6 Plus, I've zoomed into the max, and I actually didn't have to do that for the G4. I basically just tried to match the zoom to the 6 Plus, just because the G4 can actually zoom in quite a bit more. Now, I mean, it's really not a comparison here. The G4 definitely takes the cake. I mean, if you just take a look at the trees, even any part of that picture, I mean, the iPhone 6 Plus, there's just a ton of noise. You can't see very much detail. It just looks really pixelated, while the G4 actually does an incredible job of keeping that picture intact. And just to show you the G4 capability, you can see here that I've actually zoomed in completely on the G4, and you can actually see how much more of a zoom that is, and still probably has a better picture than the iPhone 6 Plus. So these two pictures are a little bit of a toss-up. I mean, I do like the contrast and the vibrancy of the colors of the picture on the left, but I do like the detail that I can see within the trees on the pictures on the right. Now, of course, all these pictures aren't always going to have a definitive winner. It just kind of comes down to personal preference. And for me, it's kind of a toss-up right here. I'm going to call this one a draw. Now, taking a look at these two pictures right here, I mean, it kind of depends on what you're going for. The picture on the right is actually a more real representation of what the colors looked like while I was there when I took that picture. The picture on the left is definitely enhanced. I mean, the grass was definitely not that green. The contrast is crazy, and I think it looks actually really good, the picture on the left, with those enhancements. But again, it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're looking for something that is an actual reflection of what is there or what you're taking a picture of that you want to edit in Photoshop, or if you're really just looking for a whole lot more color saturation, contrast, and vibrancy. So if I was going to have to choose between the two, I would definitely go with the picture on the left, which is the G4. So here I had a little bit more difficulty trying to decide which picture I actually liked better, just because the color of the two flowers were so incredibly different in each picture. So what I did was go ahead and take a picture of the flower with my Panasonic GH4, and it kind of gave me a better representation of what this color was supposed to be. So in my opinion, it's actually a blend between the picture on the left and the picture on the right. Now, this again will come to personal preference. I mean, just to kind of depend on what you like. I think the picture on the right, it looks a little bit more exaggerated with the tips of those flower petals looking a little bit more yellow than they actually were. But again, the picture on the left looks a little bit more dull, and you actually can't see anything but that red color, and they almost blend in together. These both do have a nice blur in the background where only that subject's in focus. But if you guys twisted my arm and I had to choose which picture I like the best, I would probably go with the picture on the right, which is the G4. So here we have the front-facing camera. Now, you can really tell a difference between the detail in these two photos, and that's probably because of the 8 megapixel front-facing camera that we have on the G4 versus the 1.2 megapixel camera that we have on the iPhone 6 Plus. I mean, I probably don't have to tell you which one is which, but you can really see the detail in my beard on the picture on the right versus the picture on the left. You'll also notice that the picture on my shirt is actually white, When you look on the picture on the left, it looks almost pink. So, I mean, the picture on the left is extremely warm in my face. I don't have that tan. I mean, it just doesn't look near as good as the picture on the right. I mean, that picture on the right is literally just as good as an iPhone 6 Plus picture from the rear-facing camera. So the clear winner here is the G4. Now I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I like the picture on the right, and that is the G4, and the iPhone 6 Plus is on the left. And the last picture we have here, I like the picture on the right, and that's due to just the color of that flower right there in comparison to the picture on the left, and this one actually goes to the iPhone 6 Plus. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the image stabilization on both of these devices. Now you'll notice the picture on the left, I mean, it's absolutely horrible. It's extremely jittery, it's almost distorted. I mean, you can see the tree right there just warping back and forth. It just does not look good. Now, while the color looks a little bit better on the picture on the left, the picture on the right is much more stable, it's much more fluid, and overall just an incredibly big improvement from the picture on the left, in my opinion. Now, if we take a look at this, this is the G4 on the left, while the iPhone 6 Plus here is on the right. Now, if we step back indoors, we're going to take a few pictures at my desk. Now, the clear winner to me here is the picture on the left. I mean, you can see the color of the desk, which is actually white. It's not that yellow color that you see on the picture on the right. And, of course, the detail is quite a bit better on the picture on the left than it is on the right. So, of course, that goes to the G4 instead of the iPhone 6 Plus. Now, this picture here, I had the lights off, so this is obviously with the flash on both devices. And this one kind of comes down to personal preference as well. I mean, they both aren't great shots. I do like the color of the wood a little bit better, as well as the headphones in the picture on the left, but the color in the background is a little bit too yellow for me. But then the picture on the right, it looks way too washed out. It's just not a good picture. I mean, neither one of these are that great, but again, if I had to choose, I'd probably choose the picture on the left, which is the G4. Now, I promise I didn't make this video just to bash on the iPhone 6 Plus. I mean, I really was curious as to which device would outperform the other, just because better specs don't always win. But in this case, I believe it was clear that the G4 with its 16 megapixel rear-facing camera and its 8 megapixel front-facing camera takes the cake. But of course, I'm always curious as to see what you guys have to say. So let me know what you guys think about all these pictures and this device in the comments below. I look forward to reading your comments. Now, if you want to be awesome, make sure you hit that like button and share this with your friends. Of course, if you want to see more of my videos, then make sure you subscribe. Alright guys, until next time, peace.